Hello guys, in this particular session we will be discussing about the liquidity trap that exists in economy. Firstly we will try to think what is liquidity trap. So liquidity trap is a situation trap liquidity trap is a situation where any amount money it is a situation where any amount of money which is supplied by central bank fails to change the interest rates. That is, it fails to change the interest rate. So liquidity trap is a situation where any amount of money which is supplied by central bank fails to change the interest rate. That means the first step of monetary policy transmission breaks. What does this mean? This means that increase in money supply is not been able to influence your interest rate. There is one very interesting thing. Liquidity trap was first visualized by John Maynard Keynes during Great Depression. He was the first person who identified that there is a liquidity trap in the economy, and liquidity trap was creating the situation where your GDP was not able to improve upon. So diagrammatically we will try to look into it. Suppose this is your y-axis and this is your x-axis. Y-axis is determined by real interest rates, and this is your output. No, not output, it is your money demand. I am writing money demand or money supply. Mind you, it is real money demand or real money supply. So it was argued that since money demand function acts like this is your money demand function. So there is a interest rate, if I may extend it to here, this is called R critical. You can see from this diagram that money demand function is not going below this. So if my initial money supply is at here, let us money supply initially, and let's say I am a monetary authority and I have increased the money supply. This is money supply 1. Now I have increased the money supply to money supply 2. You have seen that money supply has increased from point A to point B. Let me call it A, point B. But you see that despite there is an increase in money supply, interest rate has not changed. And this is leading to, when there is no change in interest rate, so the influence is that it is not improving the output. And this was the phenomena which was identified as liquidity trap. Okay, and we can always visualize liquidity trap by ISLM model, where the y-axis is output and x-axis is your interest rates. It was said by neo-Keynesian that LM curve is horizontal. This is LM, that is liquidity money curve. LM curve, which is horizontal, the critically low rate of interest, and any amount of money supply. So any amount of money supply will simply be lying over the initial LM curve, and the IS curve, which used to pass like this. Say IS is intersecting LM curve at y1, so it would not be able to influence your output. Output will remain at y1 only, given your RC. Keynes, even if I want to extend that, what was the solution proposed by Keynes, we can say that Keynes argued, if you go for increased government expenditure, then it is possible to make improvement in economy. Here output will increase to the extent of alpha G into change in government expenditure. So mathematically, or I should say graphically, with your initial y, and this is your interest rate, which I had initially plotted in the above diagram. Now we have seen that this was the LM curve, this was the IS curve, and they were intersecting at RC critical, and this was YI. So if I increase my government expenditure, my IS curve will shift rightwards. What it will do, it will increase our output in the economy to, let's say, Y2. But here you can also see that our interest rates have not increased. So under such situation, when government expenditure increases during liquidity trap, output increases, but since I may write since once again, since interest rates did not increase, so it did not result into crowding out. So no crowding out was visualized by Keynes in his theory, where he said that if the economy is in liquidity trap, then it is possible to improve your output, which I have shown in the later diagram. It is possible to increase output without causing the crowding out in the economy and without hampering the investors' confidence in the economy. So under such situation, there is no crowding out, that is, under liquidity trap there is no crowding out, and only fiscal policy is effective. This is again a conclusion. Only fiscal policy is effective. That is, when G increased from G1 to G2, what it does, it increased your aggregate demand, and aggregate demand what resulted into increment in output. And as you have seen that in the crowding out state, which is not possible because RC was fixed, it did not increased, so crowding out did not take place with the increment in G. So let me finally summarize. Here we have read about liquidity trap. What is liquidity trap? Then we have looked into the diagram that I have plotted here. This was the diagram that I showed, that increase in money supply, your money supply is increased but interest rate did not increase, and since interest rate could not fall below because they are already at critically low, I can write it critically low. So it was leading, so no change in the interest rate. So second step of the transmission effect could not work as the very first stage could not take on. So I think in this way you will be able to complete it, and you can very well show that IS curve, that is government policies, are fully effective in combating the liquidity trap, and they are even non-crowding out. So you can remember it, and if you have any suggestion for me, you can kindly drop into the comment box. Thank you.